different bodies.
The best thing about humans is that we are all unique, and we are all built differently. Though there are useful guidelines, such as the proportions I mentioned earlier, there is no universal template on how to draw a body. Using the head system of measurement is a great starting point when beginning the learning process, but keep in mind that it may end up becoming a limiting template to follow, potentially resulting in similar repetitive characters. On these pages, you will see a range of potential shapes and signs for human characters of different genders and ages, and even some non-humans, but of course, there are countless other possibilities which you will discover as you work and research. There are as many different body types as there are personalities. Expanding your knowledge on how to emphasize proportions and shapes will go a long way, and being able to draw a wide range of characters with different forms and body types is a highly designed skill to have as a character designer. This is another example of an archetypal adult male in a more natural pose. Knowing where the ribcage ends and where the hip bones begin makes it easier to understand the dimension around the stomach area and where the muscles are placed. Keeping that in mind, everybody is unique in its own way and will vary to some degree. Here is an example of an underweight adult female. Notice how body landmarks like the hip bones, shoulders, ribcage and knees are more highlighted and defined. This makes the body more angular, in contrast to the softer, rounded forms of the female figure. Shown on page 14, it means the picture number 1 in the first chapter. Foundation is key. This is an example of an overweight body type. For an adult male, the bony landmarks that are usually found on the body may not be that visible anymore, so you are working with simplified round shapes instead of using the bones as anchor points. For the anatomy, consider gravity and how the excess body masses move in relation to the skeleton. This is an example of a boy around 3 to 3 years old. In contrast to adults, a child may only be 4 heads tall, so the head is rather large in comparison to the body. A key visual element of a child is their soft features, so utilizing round shapes is an effective choice. This is a young female adult with a fuller figure. In contrast to a more overweight character, gravity comes less into play. You can slightly see the underlying bone structure, but these body types will be more rounded out around the hips, shoulders, knees and ankles, giving the character a less defined and softer look. This is an example of how an older male's body shape could look. Obviously, an elderly character can range anywhere from underweight to overweight, but a distinguishing feature of elderly characters is often the extra skin, such as around this man's neck and belly, as skin becomes looser with age. This is an example of a female adult with a slim, pear-shaped body like many female characters. This design utilizes sharp, round shapes to emphasize a classically feminine look. Her hips are slightly on the wider side, creating the pear-shaped figure, but other female characters may have a bigger chest and smaller hips or equally wide hips and shoulders. This is an adult male with bind muscle and a strong, solid body shape, further enhanced by widening his shoulders and narrowing his hips. These top, heavy proportions are typically used for male action heroes and superhero characters.